Okay, so here we are with another Master of the Universe, Masterverse, new Eternia Skeletor. How about that? Oh my god, there's an earthquake. No, it's just the kitty. Here she is. Say hi, everyone. Say hi to the kitty. She wants attention. Alright. So, she's headbutting my computer again. So yeah, I got, Masters of the Universe new Eternia Skeletor, aka Barbarian Skeletor. Why did they name Skeletor Barbarian Skeletor and He-Man Viking He-Man? I have no idea. I don't know. I don't think those were ever supposed to be, like, official names. Like, they're obviously not on the package, but I think those are just like internal nicknames to differentiate these specific versions of the characters, so there wasn't any confusion. But that's why this one's called Barbarian Skeletor in some places. But here you can see it just says Skeletor, Evil Lord of Destruction, like we're used to seeing from him. And check out that cool artwork on the back with Skeletor and the Havoc staff. And you can see he's wearing that helmet with the funky beard. Like, why Skeletor has a soul patch, I don't know. Like, I say this as somebody who has a beard. There's like a couple of layers that come in between the hair and the bone. But I don't know, what with Skeletor being an evil demon from another dimension, I guess, rules don't apply to him the same way they do to us. By the way, today is Mother's Day. As I'm filming this, it's not going to be Mother's Day when I upload this. But in case my mom is watching, I want to say I hope you had a happy Mother's Day. I know that we chatted a little bit that day, so But if you're watching this again, I hope it was a good one. And I'm thinking of you right now as I shoot this video. So I want to dedicate this video to you, Mom, if you're watching. And I hope that you enjoy this video about me talking about an evil demon from another dimension who intends to conquer the universe. And to anybody else who's a mom that's watching, happy Mother's Day, belatedly. I hope you're having a good one. Probably my Aunt June is watching this, so shout out to her too. And she's a mother as well. And I'm always thinking about you. So it's nice to see you when you watch my videos. So anyway, we got a nice little picture here on the side. Again, they got the helmeted head on there, and with the more traditional Skeletor head looking over him. Kind of like how they did with the new Eternia He-Man figure. So new Eternia seems like it's going to be kind of like I said in the He-Man review, it seems like it's supposed to be kind of like a different continuity from any of the other ones we've previously seen. So this does not tie in with Revelation, which most of the Masterverse figures have been Revelation, and it doesn't tie in with, like, say, the old Filmation cartoons, or the old mini comics, or 2000X cartoon, or anything. It's its own version of Eternia. Hence, it's called New Eternia. So yeah, and it seems like to me like it's going to be, like, darker and maybe a little more aimed at the adult collectors than the kids, which is fine, because kids got their own He-Man line with the Netflix show with the weird sci-fi kind of He-Man that reminds me of New Adventures, and I'm not really that into that one. Sorry. Like, it just doesn't look like anything that would interest me. I know that a lot of my viewers like it, and I'm glad of that, and I hope kids like it. But it's kind of funny to me how they seem to be kind of trying to do all these He-Man stories that don't take place with the old continuity. And I got a theory about that. I think I'll do a video about that later. But for now, I want to concentrate on New Eternia and the Skeletor figure specifically. So, says on the back, Masters of the Universe New Eternia, original designs inspired by classic concepts. And like I said, I kind of feel like it's an original storyline as well. It's his own thing. So, but that's cool. I'm fine with that. It has very much the barbarian aesthetic that I like for my He-Man characters to have. So that makes me happy. I want to see a lot more characters in this. I want to see, like, obviously Man-at-Arms, Teela, Beastman is on the way, I know. You know, hopefully, like every one of at least the major characters. I'd like to see at least the first 2 waves, and maybe a couple of the later ones, like, say, you know, Fisto or Whiplash. You know, the ones that would fit well in. Clawful. I'd love to see Clawful. Anyway, let's read the bio on the back. Skeletor, evil lord of destruction. Using his mastery of mystical havoc energy, the madman Skeletor uncovered the violent spell, wow, that can forge the Scimitar of Chaos, a weapon that collects souls and grants ultimate power to he who wields it. In an undisciplined hand, however, it will bring about the end of Eternia. To be a master of the universe, he must first master death. But at what cost? So yeah, that seems kind of dark and serious and ominous, doesn't it? like He-Man's bio talking about the upcoming destruction of the universe, and Skeletor's talking about violent chaos magic. Probably, like, magic would be spelt with a K. So yeah. I think this is going to be, like, a really cool line. I'd love to see them do, like, some media based on this, like maybe some comics or, like, a web cartoon or something. You know, really anything would be cool, I think. So once again, we have the tape holding the cape in place, and I don't like that because, like I said, it leaves a residue on the fabric, especially this kind of fabric, which has got a sheen to it. And, like, if I can get it loose without actually fraying the fabric, it'll still leave, like, a little bit of a residue on there. And I don't like that at all. So that's even worse than the plastic tabs. That, you know I hate the plastic tabs. But the tape is just the worst on the capes. They should stop doing it. I'd rather they do the plastic tabs than the tape, even. That's how much I hate the tape. And, you know, I hate the plastic tabs. I'd rather just not do anything. I'd rather the cape just be, like, waving around in there loose. It's like, what's it going to get caught on anyway? Nothing. Okay. So let's go ahead and take these hands out, these extra hands. And an interesting thing about this Skeletor, and I've got the Revelation Skeletor here with me, so we can compare when I take it out of the package. But you'll see that he has actually, like, a slightly different shade of blue, which I think is kind of cool. So here's his alternate head, and this is probably the head I'm going to put on there because I like the old school Skeletor. And we'll talk more about this head in a little bit. And, because like I said, I'm just going to put that on the figure, so I'll talk about it after I put it on the figure. We got this massive Havoc staff, which, like, this is, like, a really thick pole. That's what she said. And, like, if he was holding it in real life, he'd be holding it like this. Like, come on, man. Like, we can make these stabs, like, a little bit more narrow, like how a staff would actually be. Like, you know, you would kind of curl your thumb. I realize you can't really do that with a He-Man weapon anyway, because that'd be too thin. But we can make it, like not inhumanly thick. Like, God, this thing will be, like, holding, like, like, the roll from a paper towel or something. I don't know. It's, like, really thick. Ridiculously thick. And then here's the aforementioned Scimitar of Chaos. Is that what they called it? Let me check here again. Yeah, Scimitar of Chaos. So that's why he comes with this funky sword. Now, old school He-Man fans like me, if you know the lore and you know this kind of stuff, you're going to recognize this as being a sword that Skeletor actually had on one of the covers of the Golden Books. I believe it was the Sunbird Legacy. And I remember it from a VHS cassette that my grandmother bought me when I had chickenpox. They reused that artwork. So I had this, there go these plastic tabs again. Ugh. Man, I just ripped them out. I don't even care. But yeah, my grandma bought me one of those Golden Books VHS cassettes of He-Man, what you would now call a motion comic. But it was a very cheaply made animated version of, like, the little Golden Books that they did. The Super Adventures is what I think they called that particular line. And I really enjoyed those books. I really enjoyed the video. Some of the videos were based on like really early Golden books, which took place in the mini comic era. So of course I loved those. Alright, so now we have Barbarian Skeletor out of the package, and when I pulled him out, his cape came loose, and it actually kind of clips onto the leather straps of the Skeletor armor kind of loosely. Maybe not quite as tight as I would like. But there we can see the head with this helmet, and it kind of reminds me of Magneto's helmet a little bit. I think if I was going to give Skeletor a helmet, I probably would have gone for more that looked more like that really early Mark Taylor drawing, where it was kind of almost like a crown-like helmet, you know the one I'm talking about? But like I said, this one kind of reminds me of Magneto a little bit, which is fine. I like Magneto. Magneto's pretty cool. And his cape actually has like little tears at the edge of it to give it kind of a rough look, so that's pretty neat. I like that. I have a Skeletor down here. So here's the new Eternia Skeletor next to the Revelation Skeletor, and even by the light of my computer screen, you can tell that they're each like a slightly different shade of blue. Like, I kind of feel like this is more like the shade of blue you think about Skeletor as being, and this is kind of more like, it looks to me like a toy that, you know, got left in storage and got a little yellowy. But they're both, like, really good blues for Skeletor, I think. So I approve of both of these. But this one kind of hits my nostalgia button just a little bit more because it reminds me of the old toy. At least the old toy after, you know, it had been played with for a while and got kind of dingy. So, yeah, like I said, these straps, the cape is supposed to kind of clip onto that, but it doesn't clip, like, I don't think quite as well as they intended it to. But it doesn't really matter. It still stays on him really well. And it's like a whole separate piece of armor that this cape is attached to. Let's go ahead and take it off, because now I want to look at the armor underneath, which we can tell is a more traditional Skeletor-style armor. And again, this is very different from the armor that was on Revelation. And, like, you know how, like, it's two pieces of armor, and the cape is kind of supposed to sandwich in between them. And unfortunately, that causes this to kind of stick up a little bit here. I might wind up gluing these together. And you could still get the cape off, I think, if I did it just right. You'll notice I don't have the Revelation head on there. I took the Rise of Evil head and put it on there. And of course, I repainted mine, so it looked a little more skull-like. I think that gives it more of an Alfredo Alcala look, which, of course, is, you know, my favorite artist of He-Man artwork. And not many shared parts in this, as you might think. The boots are different, like completely different boot armor, completely different feet. This one has the 3 toes like you would think of the original figures having, and this one has 5 toes like you would think of the mini-comic. The loincloth is different, even though they're both clearly based off that original Skeletor loincloth with the leather straps. But I think this one hews a little bit more closely to the original toy because you can see the furry shorts on the sides underneath. That's not a separate piece. He's not actually wearing furry shorts underneath the loincloth. It's all one solid piece around there. The belt itself is purple, but the straps looks like they're black. It's kind of hard for me to tell in the light in here because, you know, my ceiling fan, that's what I have using for light, and it's not as bright as I would like for these purposes. These Shin Guards are really cool. They've got like a bat design etched into them. This is a really great old school type Skeletor. This reminds me a lot of Alfredo Alcala's artwork. And in fact, the only thing that really separates it is the fact that it has the furry shorts sticking out from the side, and how he originally drew Skeletor, he's just had the leather straps. So this would have been like completely empty. I'm kind of tempted to just cut that off and just go full on Commando Skeletor, as some of the fans call it. And check it out. His pelvis actually is blue underneath, so he really is going commando. because he's got nothing there. Evil Lynn's gonna be disappointed. Happy Mother's Day. Ah, whew. Oh, that's funny. So let's go ahead and put the weapons in his hands. And this is gonna be a problem, I think, is that the wrists are always kind of loose on these, and this thing weighs a ton, but he seems to be holding it okay. Let's try it in the other hand. This is a tighter grip, so I think that this would actually hold the staff better, but we can see, like, this is what I'm talking about, since the rotation on these wrists, like, the peg's like a little bit looser than it should be, so he doesn't quite hold it upright. It kind of is going to tilt to one side, and probably what you want to do if you display it is kind of lean it up against like one of his shins or against his hip or something like that. That will give you like a little more stability there. That's another thing I forgot to mention. Look at the forearms. Like the forearms on this one are kind of like these. They both have fins, but this is kind of more like the way they drew the fins on the cross-cell artwork. And this is more like how the fins were on the actual figure, where there's one at the top of the forearm and one at the bottom of the forearm. The hands are really cool, nice claw-like hands. I believe these are the same hands. Yep, they look like, to me, the same hand. No, are they? They're very similar, but I don't know if they're actually the same. Comparing them, they might be different. They might just look different because of the plastic, or maybe one of them came out smaller, or maybe it's even the paint on the nails making them look a little different to me. But this one seems a little more bony than the other one. But I don't think it's actually a different sculpt. I think it's just like the colors are just making it look that much different. If you can kind of see there, like, compare. I don't know if it comes across that well. So those I think are probably the same hands. They're definitely not the same forearms, definitely not the same loincloth, definitely not the same shins or feet. The armor is different. Other than like most of the standard buck parts that got reused here, this Skeletor is like an entirely different Skeletor from the Revelation one. So let's go ahead and swap out the heads. And like I said, this is the head that I'm going to leave on here. This is the head that I like best. Is like, man, that is a great looking Skeletor head. It's clearly supposed to be like a skull head, not like a head with rotting flesh, but it still reminds me a lot of that original sculpt based off the original Mark Taylor design. If you've ever seen the original Mark Taylor design, he actually did have like blue skin that was kind of like tautly drawn over the skull, like a mummy or a rotting corpse or something like that. And somewhere in the design, it became a true skull. Probably when they decided to name him Skeletor. But yeah, it reminds me a lot of that head, and it's really cool looking. I like it a lot. One thing I don't like about it is it looks like the red parts are actually sculpted into the eyes, whereas I kind of prefer for it just to be like just completely hollowed out eyes with like red dots in there. But you know, normally I could repaint it, but I don't know if repainting it would really work with this since it's kind of sculpted in. Maybe if I painted it all black, I don't know. But usually a lot of times with these Skeletors, I kind of like to paint, like what you saw with the Rise of Evil head in here, where I like to paint in like the inside of the jaw and make it just like that much more obvious that it's a skull. Because like with this, a lot of the times like Mattel winds up making it solid green fading to yellow kind of thing. But I like it to be a little more skull-like. That's just me. I might do that with this one. I don't know. I kind of almost like it being the way it is with this one, just because, like I said, it reminds me a lot of that original Mark Taylor artwork. And other than, you know, at least like one convention exclusive that was made, I don't think they've actually made that Skeletor into an action figure. At least not one that was like readily available at retail, so that most people could buy it at an affordable price. So now that I've got this head on here, I want to try to put the cape on here and see what he looks like while he's wearing the cape and the hood. And I think I'm putting the wrong strap. There we go. That's where it's supposed to go. So yeah, it's supposed to sit on those straps, and it kind of loosely pinches on there. But I think it still stays on there pretty well, even though it doesn't quite grip those as tightly as they would have liked. So the extra bit of armor on there, the cape, that gives him a little bit more of a regal look. So that's really cool. With the hood, this is a great figure because like it's one that's got a lot of display options to it, and I like that. So if you really like this head with the helmet and the beard, you know, you can put that on there. If you don't like the cape, you don't have to have the cape on there. He's got a scimitar, and he's got a havoc staff. You can display him with either one of those. You know, if you've got like an extra power sword, you can give him that too. So there's all kinds of things that you could do with the Skeletor that are really cool. I like it because it reminds me a lot of my old Skeletor toy, and it reminds me a lot of Mark Taylor's early designs, obviously, which I believe that was probably the case with this head. I'm pretty sure that would have been what inspired that. But this is one of the better Skeletor figures I've seen. I don't know if it's the best Skeletor, because I still lean towards my Super 7 Ultimates Skeletor with the Alcala head on that one. I think I still like that one the best. And it's got like the really cool with the spikes on the forearms, and it's got the more sort of like the reptile feet, like they called it in the original line. So that's kind of like my perfect Skeletor. But again, this is another one like with New Eternia He-Man, where even if I'm a little more old school and I still kind of hew more to the 80s looks and like those the best, I could still see this easily becoming somebody's definitive Skeletor. And who knows, it might grow on me and eventually overtake that one in my mind. Oh, one other thing I should show you is he did actually have a strap on the back, so you can fit the scimitar in the back there. So it's really cool that Skeletor has his own unique sword in this line, but I would still like for him to have a power sword. So hopefully they'll find a way to get us a purple version of the new Eternia power sword, because I do think that's a really cool design, and I think it would look really sweet in purple. But I don't mind having this scimitar. I think this is pretty cool. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. That's all I have to say right now. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Tell me what you think about this new Eternia continuity. Are you going to be following it? Or are you just going to kind of use these as like, the kind of standard He-Man characters? Because I think that they work really well as just kind of like traditional He-Man figures, but they're just different enough. And especially with like the alternate heads and different accessories, that it could just be like an alternate universe somewhere in the Masterverse. I think that this is a really cool concept and a really cool idea. I think that it works really well as its own thing, and it works really well as like a classic traditional line of He-Man figures. So it's the best of both worlds, man. What more could you ask? Like, I know a lot of people were avoiding the Masterverse line because, they don't want figures associated with Revelation. It is kind of a controversial show. And like I say, I think those figures are really cool. And if you look at them just in their own right, even if you didn't like the show, the figures are awesome. But, if you can't separate the figures from the cartoon, what are you going to do? Obviously. I can understand that, but I still think you guys are missing out. But, of course, New Eternia is its own thing, and since it doesn't have, that I know of, any comic book or cartoon that's tied in with it, you could just kind of write your own ticket with it. If you want that He-Man to be Prince Adam, he's Prince Adam. If you want him to be like Ular or King Grayskull or some other kind of He-Man, he can be. And this is just whatever Skeletor you want. Maybe he's Keldor, maybe he's just a demon from another dimension. I like to think of him as both. But, whatever. It is what it is. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.